Well, the good news is, aside from having our now tremendous trophy, White Fat Rock goes up to level 10. And again, we cap off just an unbelievable season. We'll see where we finish in terms of the rankings. We'll see if Western Kentucky can pull off the upset of all upsets and win themselves a national title, but unbelievable. 13-1 for the midshipmen. Assless Apron will be my character name provided when I get a character. That trophy is going to be the inspiration for a few character names, I would imagine. God damn, what a trophy. You know what? One more time while we wait. Again, that's what it looks like from the front, but otherwise, it's just a fucking caked up trophy. Oh, fuck. All right, well, we have some new records to discuss. First and foremost, John Paul Jones sets the single season record for passing touchdowns with 31, passing Blake Horvath of 26 2 seasons ago. William Henry Harrison sets the record for receptions in a season, passing Leon Houghton Jr., a.k.a. Poop Deck Pool, 70 receptions this year for William Henry Harrison, who also set the record for most career receptions with 229. William Henry Harrison also sets the record for most receiving yards in a season with 1,247. William Henry Harrison also sets the record for most receiving yards in a career with 4,117. With that Missile sets the record for most receiving touchdowns in a career, though, as he surpasses Harrison by 1. Almost every record for Henry Harrison. As Navy will cap off the 2018 season as the 12th ranked team in the nation. As surprise, surprise, Notre Dame absolutely floors Western Kentucky to win the national title. Sweet Jesus, 41-3. Eat your heart out, TCU. Woo! Goodness gracious. So Notre Dame, again, if I'm not mistaken, have gone back-to-back as national title winners. Akron finishes the season second at 14-0. That's insane. Then you got the U up there, Western Kentucky, Ohio State, Washington, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, Kansas State, West Virginia, Rutgers, and now Navy. From a 3-star program to a 1-star program, and now to a 4-star program. Insanity for Navy. Absolute insanity. One more look. We actually didn't take a look at the season stats here, although you can see passing leaders. Jones actually finished 3rd in the nation in passing yards, which is outrageous. Ahoy Matey was 87th for rushing yards. Harrison was 8th for receiving yards. Diggs was actually number 1 for Arkansas, and we shut them down. The tackle leaders are still just broken as shit. It's hilarious. And the sack leader, King Twiggy IV, with 10, he was up there. He was up there. We were not up there for pick leaders, but I do like that Shan Spy was our representative. And then one, Kevin Von Erich. Tremendous. Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. Again, what a season for John Paul Jones. Nearly 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jesus. Ahoy Matey over 1,000 yards. Jones had 800. 11 rushing touchdowns for Submarine. Man. This team was insane. This team was absolutely insane. It's going to be very difficult for us to build up a team this capable of this talent level, I'd say, ever again. And defensively, we know the tackles were absurd. Kerry Von Erich moved from the D-line to linebacker, and that worked out incredibly well. So many guys with double digits tackle for loss, and then our sack leader with 10 was, again, Duke at fourth. And kicking is always big. Let you look at that. 28 of 36. I mean, that's okay. 36 field goals attempted, though. It just shows that, you know, the boot certainly improved. And, of course, the career stats for some of these guys. You know, Hoy Mady, 27 career touchdowns. We can look at the career stats afterwards once we see for sure who is gone. But for the school records, there's only one that holds on to this point for passing that hasn't been set by somebody in our run, and that's Tom Forrestal's 4 touchdowns in a game from 1957 that hasn't been surpassed. Pretty ridiculous. Let's see, receiving wise, do we not have the rushing option? That's weird, the order that's in. There's only 2 records receiving wise that are intact as well. Pat McGrew's 3 touchdowns in a game, and Damon Dixon's 10 receptions in a game. Aside from that, it's a whole lot of William Henry Harrison. Every defensive record still stands, actually. Pretty surprising. Those will be tough to beat then. And every rushing record still holds as well, including the fact that all but one record for rushing is held by a quarterback. Keenan Reynolds. What the hell is that guy doing nowadays? What the hell is Keenan Reynolds up to? I'm older than this guy. That's scary. That is scary. He's still in the Navy Reserves. What a guy. Played for the Ravens, the Redacteds, Seahawks. Oh, man, he was a part of the Sea Dragons. He was a part of the XFL Seattle Sea Dragons. Let's go. Played 2 NFL games in his career. Fair shout to this guy, huh? Good on you, buddy. Good on you. Tremendous. Well, there we go. I think we've dragged out the optimism and the positivity for as long as we can. We have to say goodbye to an unbelievable season. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. And, of course, a lot to get to, including renaming new players tonight. Here we go. Here we go. Again, we took over. Finished 5-7 in our first season. Back-to-back 3-9 records. Peter Griffin, our initial head coach, gets fired. And now back-to-back 8-5 seasons with bowl game losses. And then now a bowl title win, a conference championship as well in 2018. White Fat Rock. What a guy. The funny thing is, I don't know if we have to move conferences. We could, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But if Western Kentucky just made a national title game, the best thing for us to do might just be to wait. Stay in the same conference where theoretically it'll be easier opponents. And then maybe add 1 or 2 tough opponents that if we beat them, we'll have the, hopefully the record to hold up. We'll see. Jim Harbaugh, he's leaving a little bit early. And Nebraska, White Fat Rock, rumored candidate. I don't think so. Not going to Nebraska. Think I'm going to goddamn Nebraska? No disrespect to Nebraska, but I mean, Christ, outside of packing stadiums for sports, what else is going on in Nebraska? We have a new defensive coordinator, and they have 24 unused skill points. Let's fucking go. Oh, that's huge. That is huge. Huge. First and foremost, the ACC. Syracuse. Have you had any changes? Not Syracuse. What the hell is Syracuse? Not in the ACC. In the fucking Big 12, the Big 10. I don't fucking remember where the fuck they were. Unless they didn't have any changes, and that's why they're not showing up. I think that's why. Fair enough. Schnoz, you sure can. Say hello to 2 new coordinators. New offensive coordinator is Barry Lunny Jr. Lunny? And our new defensive coordinator is Clark Lee. Old Clark Lee. Pac-12. Is that what they are? You're right. Well, as far as we know, Peter Griffin is still in Syracuse, too. Fair enough. Okay, here we go. We can survive this. We can mentally survive this. Megatron 3000 wants to transfer out to Wyoming because of a lack of playing time. We'll try to keep him. He's not a major loss if he does leave. Yeah. Okay. So we have lost Megatron 3000, who is transferring to Wyoming due to playing time. Fair enough. Again, we're set at quarterback, though. He was never going to play. Lee is Vandy's current head coach. The other dude is Illinois' current offensive coordinator. Fair enough. Running backs. Mihoy Manoy. Ahoy matey. Graduates. Finishing with over almost 3,000 yards total and 27 career rushing touchdowns for Ahoy matey. No fullbacks are gone. This hurts. At wide receiver, you sunk me battleship. Only 12 career receptions, but 2 of them were touchdowns, 200 yards. Dobie Fuggin with that missile. At one point, we thought he might be our quarterback, but he transfers out to wide receiver, finishes with almost 4,000 yards and 30 career touchdowns. It's going to be hard. William Henry Harrison. Mr. President. I'm tearing up over here, Chad. I'm tearing up. Over 4,000 yards and 30 career touchdowns. Oh, God. I need a tissue. William, no. Okay. That's a tough loss. At tight end, we say goodbye to Juan McGummy. Yeah, 07's in chat, please. 19 career receptions, 1 touchdown for Juan McGummy. On the O-line, where's me floaties? We say goodbye to where's me floaties. Sub McMissile. Sub McMissile's also on the outs. And at right tackle, Captain Morgan, a.k.a. Captain Morgan. On the defensive side of things, our first ever player to try and go pro, Sal the Seas. Projected as a 7th round pick, but Sal might be our very first pro, as Oh No graduates as well. At linebacker, he missed his final few games due to injury, but how do I tackle? He figured it out at the end. We say goodbye to how do I tackle? Middle linebackers, we knew there was going to be a massive exodus. Barricade, Kerry Von Erich. Incredibly decorated career for Kerry Von Erich. Over 300 tackles, 18.5 sacks. And Dingus Cringelord also graduates, the pride of Sanford, Maine. And on the right, Squilliam Fancy Son also graduates. Hope the game gets rid of the size limits for going into the draft. It better. We also say goodbye to Ash Ketchum. The big question is, how many goddamn interceptions did you have? 4. He had 4. He could have had 40. At safety, we also say goodbye to I'm Open. And then, of course, the special teams, Kevin Von Erich, the Barefoot Wonder, and Peter Nuggy Jones. We have lost a lot of talent, to say the least. We have a lower level quarterback option out. It's hilarious that the players that graduate end up on a boat. Well, and the one guy whose name is Sal the Seas is trying to go pro. No thanks. Voxu, how'd you feel to end up on a on the same vessel as you sunk me battleship? Well, let's see if Sal indeed was drafted and if we have any transfers in. And indeed, he was a 7th round pick. Sal the Seas has gone pro. Unfortunately, you cannot see what team he was drafted to, but Sal the Seas, here, you know what? Let's do pick a number between 1 and 32. It landed on 29. So there you go. Whoever the 29th team alphabetically is in the NFL, that is who Sal played for, or is playing for now. Which, I mean, AFC and NFC. Who is the 29th? Is it Tennessee? It might be Tennessee. It might be Seattle. I don't fucking know. I'm not doing the math. Attaboy, Sal. Any new recruits through the transfer wire? No. The old transfer portal doesn't work out too well for us this year. That's okay. That brings us to our last batch of recruitment. Sal Adel. All right. Here we go. Here we go. We got 13 scholarships left. I don't believe we have a single need on the board aside from the punter and the linebackers. We already have 7 linebackers committed, so that's fine. We do need to secure a punter. And we can also make a push for this 5-star running back, Brian Brown. I mean, we have massive leads for those other guys. Were there any other players yet to commit that we might be interested in and that we might be able to make a push for? I'm going to guess the answer is no. And that Brian Brown's the best guy we can get. And that does look to be the case. There are some dudes who are interested. We'll have to see here. I'm going to take Harvey Wilson out. We're not in the lead for him. I'm not going to put points on for him. There's 4-star Dwayne Francis. Simply put, most of these guys we can't fight for anyway. There were some late additions there as well. Most of these guys we have no hope in hell of securing. So let's get them out of here. I'm going to look at a bunch of the 3-stars and at least send them scholarship offers just to find out if we can secure a few more people. But yeah, probably these 2 guys right here is just not going to happen because the vast majority of the points are going to end up on Brian Brown and the punters. But if we look at dudes that are interested, anybody that I'm in first for, huge lead for Brett Cole. We'll add him to the list. Anybody that I'm in second for, I mean, yeah, the lock percentage would dictate if I even have a chance. And again, Jason Bowers, it's not too likely. Let's see. I'm in fourth for David Ray, but again, I can't really afford to fight for him. We're in first for Howard Smith. I mean, again, even if they're wideouts, it could be worth a shot. Won't go for Hayden Jackson. Although, again, most of them are freaking wideouts and quarterbacks. We also got Josh Smith. Third for that dude at 18%. It's okay if you're not first if they have no offers from the other school. It's true. 20% for Kenneth Smith. Anybody else that we're in first for? A 2-star. Then a linebacker. I mean, we could get away With scouting some of the 2-stars just to see if they have higher overalls, as unlikely as it is. Quite a few guys lock percentage-wise that aren't that high up. Gotta be honest, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play it safe. Bring up ye old calculator. If we end up with multiple punters, it is what it is. I'm gonna take Steve Bryan out of there and put the emphasis on the other two, who we have nearly a 5,000 point lead for both of them. I'm just trying to decide if 5,000 points is enough for Brian Brown. I don't know if it is. So it's a little bit scary to only do like 1,000. But Jesus Christ, if 1,000 points isn't enough to secure it for dudes that we have a 5,000 point lead on, like one of them has to sign for that amount, right? And then Brian Brown will try to steal away. There's a chance we could end up with like a walk-on punter. And if that's the case, then the guy that we brought in as a kicker will be both the kicker and the punter next year, should one of those two not commit. But we're looking for that 5-star steal right at the very end. Can we get it? Can we get the 5-star steal at running back? We got both punters, and we locked down a 5-star running back in Brian Brown at the last minute. A top 25 class, the top class in the conference. Whew. And to get a top 25 class when the recruitment started off as poorly as it did is huge for us. When we focused on need as much as we did, we end up with 2 5-stars, 3 4-stars, and 10 3-stars. Again, as a 4-star program. Unreal. Top recruitment class in the nation went to Texas A&M. Yeah, and old Wisconsin up there as well. But that is tremendous for us. Absolutely tremendous. So again, a final look at who we brought in. Brian Brown at running back, which is insane. Wide receivers, we brought in Aaron Jensen. At tackle, 68 overall, 3-star recruit Sherrod Williams. At guard, 72 rated 3-star prospect Ryan Stewart. 6 outside linebackers, including 3-star, 67 overall, Seth Williams. 3-star, 67 overall, Darrell Bell. 3-star, 69 rated Joe Abrams. 4-star, 81 overall, Kevin Nicholson. 5-star, 78 overall, Eric Newsom. And 3-star, 70 overall, Timmy Wallace. Lone middle linebacker, 3-star, 65 overall, James Burke. The kicker, 84 overall, 3-star, Jerry Singletary. And the 2 punters, both 3-stars, 79 rated John Owens and 78 rated Paul Adams. And then the 2 athletes that we went for, we only got one of them. It was Robert Young, who's a 4-star, 77 overall. We'll probably be playing him at wide receiver to fill that need. So this was a very concerning recruitment class, but it worked out so well. And it brings us to position changes for what this team might look like this upcoming season. First and foremost, Robert Young, very clearly a wideout. Technically could play in the secondary, though. We might have to think about that. We have our 3 quarterbacks, so that's not going to change. For one John Paul Jones. Shout out to Cody for the $2.22. He wants to stake his claim to rename Brian Brown. Cody, we'll see if it's enough. See if anybody challenges you on that. As it stands, he's yours. All All right, yeah, no changes there at quarterback. Ocean Gate Submarine at running back. Obviously, no change there. Invalid username. Once upon a time, could have been a quarterback. He is definitely best set at running back at this point. I mean, we do have other wideout talent. Brian Brown. Same thing. Gonna stay at running back. Swap me Porthole. We're not gonna move him either. And A-Craft Carrier, also not going to move. So, I mean, technically, if we needed maybe invalid username would be better there at wideout. Because Ocean Gate Submarine's a senior, and now we have Brian Brown on the roster. I feel like invalid username's just going to have too much trouble there. I think we are going to move him over to wide receiver. So that way he's not directly competing. Taker with the 5 gifted subs. My goodness. Taker. Thank you for the 5 gifted. I do appreciate it. Niles, yeah, I know. We just haven't used him yet. We had a new defensive coordinator hired. Swab Me is definitely a running back. It's too late to put a junior into developing safety, right? So let's move invalid username over. And that's looking like a pretty good running back crop of talent right there. Again, the fullbacks, there's no way I can move them. Like, they're just there. For the wideouts, I mean, we're not going to have space at running back. And most of these guys have been around too long to move anywhere else. So that just is what it is. Nothing crazy to change there. And then Aaron Jensen, the other wideout that we just brought in. Really no reason to not leave him there. Honestly, I think that athlete, just like the other recruits we brought in the prior season, we're moving him to the secondary. I don't know where the hell I just accidentally moved him. Where the hell did I just move him? Did I move him to corner? Cody, I'll accept it. I'll accept it. It is the same thing. I moved him to defensive tackle. Fair enough. There we go. I'll move him to corner for the moment. Okay, so not too much to change offensively. We do only have 2 tight ends on the roster, but technically that's all we needed. We could move Crash is playing at 6'5" over to tight end, but he can't block, so it's just not going to happen. So we'll stick with the 2 tight ends. That'll be a big point for recruitment in this next season. Let's figure out what this O-line looks like now. It feels like we're going to have the bare minimum amount of offensive linemen to run this season, so I will not be surprised if a lot of our recruitment is focused on the O-line moving forward. Let's see what we got. We had a couple of additions brought in. So Sack Rider gets better in the interior. Hear Me Out stays the same. What's a Pass gets better. Starbucks Meme stays on the outside. So does Roughing the Passer. Stewart gets better. Dietka stay on the outside. So can Williams. Frankie JJ moves over. And Lamez stays on the outside. Okay. So we know Hear Me Out's going to be playing. That's for sure. Move Bread Starbucks Meme and Roughing the Passer out to right tackle. Also move Jabron Lames. Probably going to have to move somebody else over. Let's see, a +2 for Sack Rider. +1 for What's a Pass. +1 for Stewart. And a +1 Frankie JJ. Okay, so we are going to have to move somebody back over to guard. It might as well be Jabron Lames right there. So yeah, it's not stacked, is the best way to put it. We're going to move Sherrod Williams to the interior as well, just to have 2 in each spot. So, Crash, what? What could you possibly have texted me that you couldn't just say? God. Fine. Crash, I'll see what I can do. All right, really quickly here. In 60 speed, defensive tackles, that works. He could technically move General Booty over to the edge. Bunch of 70 speeds. Let me drive to boat. Crash did not take the lead on the running back, I'll tell you that. He didn't take the lead on the running back. James Burke could technically stay there. Washington, let's move you to the defensive line. Again, Ho Robinson could be moved back to the secondary. Who currently has it? Taker still has it for that running back. Not a boulder, it's a rock. I think we can move to linebacker. Let me drive to boat. Can be moved over. I think we'll move General Booty to the edge. And then in terms of speed, do you think those guys are going to improve? I think Ho Robinson... I think a lot of these guys might be moved back to the secondary based off of their speed. Let's move Oh My God back over. We're also going to move Ho Robinson back to the secondary. There's an argument for Magically Delicious as well. I mean, Crash, no guarantees. You don't know what the pricing is going to look like. Alright, so obviously we will be able to move people around if need be. We did end up with a lot of linebackers, of course. Alright, so what are we looking at now for the defensive line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Honestly, that's fine. That hits the numbers that we need. We do need to move Armor Abs Crabs over. Put General Booty on the other side. Works for me. Defensive tackles are looking okay. And the linebackers... be the big thing. I mean, is a rock. Was a redshirt freshman, so he can still improve. James Burke's an outright freshman. That speed's not going to get better. So let's move him to the defensive line for the moment. And okay, I think we are good. So let's get this set up. These player options here. See who's going to play where this season. Stuckey can play anywhere. Nicholson is better on the outside. So is Precious White. Newsom's better as an interior option. So is a Rock. Let me drive the boats. Wallace stays the same. Abrams stays the same. Bell gets worse. So 3 middle linebackers. That works. And then we want Nicholson playing out of the gates. So let's move these two over to the right. Bell over there as well. And now it is just the secondary. Focus on Bubble Doug. Improves by 1. Shan Spy improves by 1. Gumps up by 4. I drop only by 1. Flaxen Waxen by 1. Of Water goes up by 4. Robert Young goes up by 3. With the ship stays. Deckhand up by 3. Crab stays. Oh, Robinson moves back. Oh my God moves back. Birth Control stays. Magically Delicious moves. And Domingo Both Meats moves. So we have quite a few guys for safety. That'll be the big question is really, can anybody move over? There was I'm Afraid of Water, who could move to wideout. We planned on him playing safety long term, but you could move him to wideout. You could move Robert Young to wideout or running back. Swab Me Deckhand is staying. God is staying, and then Magically Delicious and Both Meats, I believe, also stay. No, both meets could move too. So both meets, Robert Young and I'm Afraid of Water could both be running back or wide out. Definitely not moving Ocean Gate Submarine. Not moving Porthole. We're not moving Carrier. Can any of these wideouts transfer over to quarterback? Donnie Jepp could, but I mean, we're not moving Donnie over. Jensen could technically be a running back. Dingy, no, and then Edward Kenway. A valid username would be the one that can move the quarterback. You know, went from running back, thought he might be a wideout, and Christ, now he might be moved back to quarterback. And it makes sense to move him to quarterback because Red Rocket's there as well. So invalid username is actually going to end up as a quarterback out of a bit of desperation. And we are going to be moving. I'm Afraid of Water is going to stay, but Robert Young is going to wide out, as is Domingo both meets. Let's see, Gump drops by 4, of Water drops by 2. Robinson moves. Deckhand drops by 1. Oh my god, gets better by 1. Delicious gets better by 1. So we are going to be moving I'm Afraid of Water over to strong safety. We'll move Magically Delicious back over, and that is the team pretty much settled outside of the whole kicker-punter situation. But we have had quite a few players move. Let's take a look here at the ratings. Best kick power is Jerry Singletary, so he will stay as the kicker. We'll probably have to choose between one of those two punters. I mean, we did lose a lot of people, so we might not have to cut everybody. But I think we are set up here. Some more crazy movement throughout the roster. Training results will obviously help some of those guys who weren't so good in the other positions. So John Paul Jones will be up to a 94. Username's already up to an 80 rated quarterback. He went up by 6 points. So that's incredible. He is right now the heir apparent to Red Rocket and John Paul Jones. No touching still in the mix there too. Ocean Gate Submarine up to an unbelievable 91 overall. Swap Me Porthole at an 88 as a junior. And A-Craft Carrier was the redshirt freshman. He's an 83. So the running game looks insane. Porthole actually has better break tackle than Ocean Gate, but Ocean Gate has 91 trucking. That's insane. Whew. For the fullbacks, a 74 and a 69, do you consider redshirting JPJ? It could be a conversation. It could be. Let Red Rocket be the starter this year and then have JPJ next year. And then invalid username the year after that. There might be a discussion. Donnie Jepp up to a 94. You have Captain We're Sinking at an 89. Some good improvements elsewhere, including both meets up to an 81. An 87 and an 82 at tight end, which is great. The O-line, Hear Me Out, up to an 85. 89 for Kyle Sackrider. 76 for JJ, Frankie JJ as a freshman. 84 for What's a Pass. And 81 for Bread Starbucks Meme. On the defensive line, oh no, oh god, oh shit, oh fuck. Looks to be the starter there. With 93 rated Armor Epps Crabs on the other side. Oh man, plus 5s and 6s. The defensive line looks like it's going to be awesome this year. Middle linebacker, let me dry the boat, not a boulder, is a rock. Both get better. King Tukey the fourth up to a 94 overall. Precious White's an 84. And finally, the corners have turned the corner. She came down in a bubble dug. Team leading 89. Rush Shanspy's up there too. At safety, a 90 for Forrest Gump as a junior. And an 83 for I'm Afraid of Water as a sophomore. There's a couple of risky red shirt possibilities this upcoming season. Before that, how many players do we have to get rid of? We don't have to get rid of anybody. We actually have 4 open spots on the roster. Okay. We don't have to get rid of anybody. Now, the big question. The big question is, do we change conferences after winning the conference title? First and foremost, the skill tree, of which we are going to reset this across the board. Oh man, our offensive coordinator's a level 15 as well. Holy shit. We got massive upgrades for our coordinators. That's amazing. So really quickly, max scouting efficiency, maximum points throughout the season. No matter what, we have the extra 1,500 points. And we will do the visit improvement as well. So we are getting closer to the other points that we want as a head coach. The defensive coordinator. Let's go with the power and finesse moves, unless I can do a 2-in-1. I can do a 2-in-1. Let's start off with that. Man coverage. Zone coverage. Man coverage. Zone coverage. Oh shit, really? There we go. Defense gains catching and spec catch. Spec catch, I should say. Let's take the tackle boost. That's right, this is a maximum rated defensive coordinator, isn't it? Almost. Almost. God damn. Let's see. So, awareness, speed, agility, acceleration. I mean, awareness and play recognition helps a lot. But just being faster, I mean, that defensive coordinator changes so much about our team. And then the offensive coordinator. Again, I like the stamina more than the carrying for the offense. Throw power and accuracy. Bump up the quarterback, bump up the catching abilities. Impact blocking, pass blocking. Okay. Those coordinators just changed a lot for us. A lot. That improved the team massively. If we were to change conferences from the American, right? We're the only ranked team there. The thought is if we stay in the American, we are in theory playing easier teams that allow us more wins and a better resume. The ACC, if we end up with a good record, our resume looks absurd. But the competition level there is insane. Like, we've seen Duke and North Carolina be ranked. We've seen NC State be a top 5 team and then fall off. Stanford's there, Miami's there, Florida State, Clemson, Cal. I mean, that's rough. The Big 12, obviously, geographically, doesn't make too much sense for us. Then again, you could argue things don't make too much sense in general. Look at conference rules for the ACC. It's a big choice. Big choice if we want to move. And if we were to move to the Big 12, it would be for a team like UCF, basically, or Cincy. The Big Ten is a possibility, but again, you're talking about dealing with USC, UCLA, Washington, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State. Like, we have a good team, but do we need to be in that tough of a conference? I mean, Jesus, Western Kentucky just made the national title game playing at Conference USA. You know? And of course, Notre Dame's #1 is an independent, which would allow us to fully set up our schedule. And then Akron is the second-ranked team in the fucking nation, and they're playing in the MAC, for God's sakes. I don't think we have to try that much harder. I don't think we do. I think we can stay. At the same time, it is like, well, we conquered that conference. Let's be honest, the MAC would technically be a downgrade, which would be a good thing. Air Force in the Mountain West. We could join the Pac-12 and be in the same conference as Syracuse and treat Syracuse as a rival. Rutgers and Washington State are also out there. The SEC doesn't make too much sense. The Sun Belt. I mean, would you argue the Sun Belt's an improvement? I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is. Another reason why I'm tempted not to move is I feel like we'd have to potentially move Army. If we did move, we'd have to take them with us. I think we're gonna stay. I think we're gonna stay. Shout out to Dusty. You missed everything. We won our bowl game. You missed a whole lot. We don't have to move if we want to have success here. I agree, like the ACC upgrade would be nuts. Who the fuck would we move out, though? Probably be like Boston College and Wake Forest, I guess. West Coast teams. That's part of the fun, is that they're actually moving to the ACC. So, I think I'm going to leave it. At least for this season. There's an argument moving forward, certainly. But for this season, knowing that we're the 12th ranked team right now, I think we stay for this year. And yeah, I don't hate the idea of like the Pac-12 rebuilding around the military teams. Maybe we look for that in the future. But for now, we have players to rename. The recruitment's going to be pretty ridiculous, I am sure. The custom schedule as well will probably be pretty interesting. I do need to take a look at the team needs, though, because I'm sure it's going to be fucking ridiculous. Quarterback, wide out, tight end, a guard, outside linebacker, and a corner. It's going to be a tough recruitment class. That is for sure.